You think you know Demolition Man, Three Seashells, Taco Bell jokes, Cryo Cop versus Chaos. But under the foam and neon are 21 wild truths, like the A-list duel that almost replaced Stallone, a heroine recast in 48 hours, concept cars that were actually real, and a villain so fast the camera begged him to slow down. If you love this movie, you're about to see it for the first time again. Demolition Man didn't predict the future. It ambushed it. Here are 21 weird facts you didn't know. 1. The showdown that almost was. Before Stallone ever suited up as John Spartan, the studio flirted with a pure martial arts event. Jean-Claude Van Damme versus Steven Seagal. The hitch wasn't choreography, it was ego math. Each side wanted the hero slot, neither would touch the villain, and the proposal froze in place. That impasse left a vacuum, and in stepped Stallone with a different energy. The flinty, blue-collar juggernaut who could carry a future cop thriller on star power alone. The tone tilted from a tournament movie to a gladiatorial clash of personalities. 2. Stallone wanted Jackie Chan, then Wesley Snipes set it ablaze. With Sylvester aboard, he chased Jackie Chan for Simon Phoenix, hoping to cast against type and showcase Chan's velocity as a gleeful baddie. Chan declined, mindful that his core audience loved him as an affable hero. That opened the door for Wesley Snipes, who didn't just play Phoenix, he detonated him. His performance is all manic grin and elastic menace, a cartoon tornado in human form. The movie stops being a standard cop vs. crook and becomes a heat-seeking duel between stoic and chaos. 3. Snipes was literally too fast for camera. Snipes' martial arts pedigree produced a very odd problem: blows that blurred. Editors can't cut what censors can't read, so stunt teams asked him to pull speed and cheat impacts so frames could capture the movement. It's counterintuitive. Slow down to look faster. But it worked. Even throttled, his body language stayed predatory and spring-loaded. Phoenix ends up reading as a villain who outruns the lens, as if the future itself can't keep up with him. 4. Lori Petty out. Sandra Bullock in 48 hours. Lenina Huxley didn't start as Sandra Bullock. Lori Petty was cast and even shot briefly before creative friction pushed a reset. The production pivoted hard, bringing in Bullock just as she was breaking out, and the character rewired overnight. Instead of a snarky backup, Huxley became the film's human bridge, someone who loves retro culture so much she helps the future find its soul again. Within a year, Bullock's bus goes over 50 in speed, and the rest is stardom. 5. 2 blockbusters, 1 exhausting year. For Stallone, 1993 wasn't busy, it was punishing. Demolition Man overlapped with the press machine for Cliffhanger. One day he's doing interviews about dangling off icy spires. The next he's back in San Angeles firing quips at a peroxide cyclone. The travel, the call sheets, the promo rounds, he essentially wore 2 different blockbusters on the same shoulders in the same calendar window, helping cement a comeback moment that felt impossible to ignore. 6. The Missing Heartbeat, Spartan's Daughter. Early drafts, and at least 1 cut, included Spartan's grown daughter, a survivor who'd slipped into the resistance. There are whispers of a background glimpse in the wasteland, like a ghost of a subplot. But test audiences wanted momentum, not a family reunion, and the editors cut deep. The absence created static. Fans later floated a rumor that Huxley was secretly his kid. She isn't. And the emotional beat that might have softened Spartan never made it to the final thaw. 7. A near lawsuit that never saw court. Hungarian writer István Nemire publicly argued that the film's premise resembled his mid-80s novel about cryo-enemies revived in a pacifist society where violence is outlawed. He spoke up, the press noted it, and then nothing. International legal battles cost time and money, and without a formal case, the claim melted into trivia. It remains a curious footnote, parallel invention, or uncanny overlap. Either way, it adds a tiny shiver to the backstory. 8. Satire versus spectacle, the Joel Silver dial. On paper, Demolition Man could have been a dry, needling satire. In practice, producer Joel Silver cranked the roller coaster. The social barbs stayed, but they were strapped to escalating set pieces and kinetic editing. Critics said the detonations drowned the wit. Fans said the detonations were the wit. That friction, ideas and fireworks trying to outshout each other, became the movie's signature flavor and the reason it ages in strange, interesting ways. 9. San Angeles equals Southern California corporate parks. San Angeles looks like tomorrow because much of it was, just not in the way you think. Production leaned on Orange County locations, especially Irvine's polished office parks and broad scrubbed avenues. Minimal signage, lots of glass, and no visible history created the vibe of a civilization rebuilt after a megaquake. Viewers assumed a mountain of sets and matte paintings. In reality, the future had been quietly built by developers long before the cameras rolled. 10. Those futuristic cars? Real prototypes. The sleek vehicles are not just art department dreams. General Motors supplied actual concept cars, including the GM Ultralight, with additional shells built for background dressing. The shapes look like alien pods that accidentally parked on Earth, carbon fiber bodies, bubble canopies, and profiles that slice air. Long before EVs took over headlines, the film paraded a traffic jam from a future that almost happened, then receded back into museum storage and archive reels. 11. The franchise wars split the timeline. In the US cut, Taco Bell is the sole survivor of the franchise wars. International distributors worried it wouldn't land, so overseas versions swapped in Pizza Hut, signage, dialogue, inserts, the works. That means the movie has two official realities, and both are right. It's corporate quantum editing, and it turns a single joke into a case study in localization, brand recognition, and how a satire about monopoly can literally be reskinned by region. 12. The title track lived a whole life before the movie. Demolition Man isn't just a cool phrase, it's a song with passports. Sting wrote it. Grace Jones cut a ferocious version. The Police recorded it. Then Sting re-recorded for the film, heavier and more ominous. The credits roll over a track born in early 80s anxiety, now welded to early 90s neon. It's a sly loop, yesterday's worries power tomorrow's world, which is exactly what the movie is doing too. 13. In Kuwait, it was marketed as Rambo. To leverage the biggest local draw, the film was promoted as Rambo the Destroyer, a marketing swing that sold tickets and scrambled expectations. Imagine buying a seat for jungle warfare and getting cryo prisons, verbal morality fines, and a tuxedo-only Taco Bell. It's a reminder that title cards are sales tools as much as identity, and sometimes the market puts a different skin on your dystopia and calls it a day. 14. Sandra Bullock's strange career foreshadows. Watch the precinct scene where they debate thawing Spartan. On a desk, a tiny model bus. Months later, Bullock becomes America's most famous bus driver in Speed. Elsewhere in the film, every fine dining option is Taco Bell. Years later, her Oscar turn connects to a family empire built on fast food franchises. Is it prophecy? Not really. But lined up in hindsight, the echoes feel like someone sprinkled breadcrumbs across San Angeles for her career to follow. 15. R-rated film, Toy Aisle tie-in. For a movie with decapitations and four-letter words, Demolition Man got a surprisingly kid-friendly push. Mattel released action figures with spring-loaded launchers and armor. Many parts reportedly repurposed molds from a space-age He-Man line, which means kids staged showdowns where a cryocop might share deltoids with Eternia. The irony is delicious. A satire about corporatized culture shipped as plastic heroes to the very demographic it pretends to scandalize. 16. The mini-franchise, comics and wildly different games. DC Comics launched a 4-issue miniseries that widened the world. More scraps, more wasteland, more backstory oxygen for a film that moves too fast to breathe. The game split even harder. On SNES and Genesis, you get a side-scrolling blaster. On 3DO, it becomes a genre blender with FPS tunnels, brawling, and driving missions. Critics weren't kind, but for 90s kids, the cartridges turned San Angeles into an after-school obstacle course. 17. The three seashells became a forever meme. No one explains the three seashells, and that's the point. Writer Daniel Waters has said the idea came from seeing decorative shells in a friend's bathroom and deciding that future bathroom tech should look baffling but tidy. Because the film refuses to clarify, audiences do the work. Diagrams, cosplay, entire Reddit threads devoted to hygiene theory. It's the purest kind of world building. Add one strange object and let the culture finish the gag for decades. 18. Stallone's midnight hobby. Castmates have told stories of Stallone turning downtime into driving range time. Rumor has it he set up practice near set and dragged people out for strokes under portable lights. It's endearing and perfectly on brand. The guy who trains on steps and punches meat also grooves a swing at midnight. By morning, he's back to quips and dust, proving that even in a cryo future, Sly runs on rituals. 19. The satire that grew sharper with age. In 1993, verbal morality tickets and contactless intimacy played as cartoon. With time, the targets began to look less exaggerated. Consolidated brands, civility nudges by algorithm, risk-averse institutions. The film didn't predict our present so much as it sketched our anxieties in highlighter. That's why it keeps getting rediscovered, because each decade finds a new line that feels uncomfortably close to home and decides the joke might be on us. 20. The Schwarzenegger Library, gag, aged strangely well. Lenina Huxley mentions the Schwarzenegger Presidential Library, a throwaway about celebrity politics gone too far. A decade later, Arnold is governor of California with a serious policy footprint and a namesake institute. The Constitution bars the presidential bit for foreign-born citizens, but the joke gained eerie weight. It's quintessential Demolition Man, a quip that sounded ridiculous until the world stretched close enough to graze it. 21. Phoenix's hair and the culture shockwave. Wesley Snipes hated bleaching for Simon Phoenix and shaved it off as soon as they wrapped. On screen, though, the shock blonde look became part of his comic book aura, and it didn't stay put. In the mid-1990s, iconoclasts across sports and music embraced wild dye jobs, most famously Dennis Rodman's ever-changing palette. A villain's cartoon haircut leapt from dystopia to basketball arenas and music videos, turning rebellion into a style language everyone could read.